New York Giants OTAs are coming to a close as the last day of practice is on June 13th. And on today's video, I'm going to give you the Giants' biggest winners and biggest losers coming out of OTAs. I always like to say this when I do this segment. It's non-padded practice, non-contact. A lot of 7 on 7s, some 11 on 11s, but limited contact. So take it with a grain of salt of winners and losers. I just like using that as the name of the segment. We're talking about people that stood out and people that, for whatever reason it may be, didn't have the best spring session. I do know this, though. We are less than 85 days away from Giants football. We're 60 days away from the preseason being here. If you're counting down every day like I am and you're ready for the Giants to get back on the gridiron, hit that thumbs up icon right now. Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Let's dive into it. OTAs are in the books. And let's talk about the people that stood out the most. And the name we're going to talk about at the start is a name that I never would have guessed had the best spring. And I think it's been pretty well documented by Giants.com, by beat reporters. And we've told you a couple of different times on this channel. Dane Belton has been the biggest Giants OTA winner this offseason. This is a guy that's entering his 4th year in the National Football League. He's going into a crowded safety room. They went out and they paid Javon Holland this offseason, and he sees the writing on the wall. You paid Holland. You made Tyler Nubert a second-round pick. It's either now or never for myself. And he showed up in a major way. Giants.com wrote this about Belton. 4 practices into OTAs, it is clear that Dane Belton is doing all that he can to make sure he does not get overlooked. During OTA number 2 last Wednesday, the first practice phase 3 that featured team drills, Belton recorded the first turnover of the spring when he made a nice play on the ball for an interception that he returned the other way for a touchdown. That play alone would have caught my eye. But then today on OTA number 4, Belton jumped in front of a pass toward the sideline for another interception, which he returned the other way for a likely touchdown. There have been only 3 days of team drills during OTAs, and Belton already has multiple pick sixes. That article was written by Giants.com about a week and a half ago. Since then, he has another interception, and at OTA day number 12, he almost had another interception, but it bounced off his hands, popped up, and it landed in the offensive hands. This dude is a ball hawk. He's making the most of his opportunities, and at OTAs, it's a lot of passing drills and essentially a passing camp, and when you hear about a safety that's all over the field with a lot of ball production for a defense that did not force a lot of turnovers last year, really forced no turnovers, that is extremely exciting to hear. And it's not new to Dane Bell. He's not new to this. He's true to it. He is someone that consistently makes plays. Limited stats, limited sample size, hasn't been given the runway to be a full-time starter here, but in 49 games played, he's got 5 interceptions, 5 tackles for loss, 11 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and 4 fumble recoveries. Being in the right spot at the right time is not luck. That's preparation, that's football IQ, and that's knowing where you need to be when you need to be there. And those numbers don't come by a mistake. Like, those numbers on a backup snap count are actually insane. And just like you guys know the Giants safety depth chart, he knows it. He knows Javon Holland just got 70, 60 million, whatever it may be. Tyler Nubert was just drafted in the 2nd round. The writing is on the wall. He's the backup. But luckily for him, with a good spring, defensive coordinator Shane Bowen is going to have to look at it and say, I've always been a defensive coordinator that wants to have a lot of DBs on the field. His last year with the Tennessee Titans, he ran the dime personnel grouping more than anybody, which is 5+ DBs on the field. Multiple safety looks, 3 safety looks. And if Dane Belton can create turnovers, he's going to be on the field. And I want to see looks of this defense where it is Belton, where it is Nubin, and it is Holland, all on the back end of this defense, patrolling it and hopefully getting us back to a spot where we can call this defense NYPD, the New York Pass Defense. Haven't been able to do that in a while. I think this year we might be able to. Let's go to the offensive side of the ball, and Just like Belton's been the clear defensive OTA winner for the New York Giants, Jalin Hyatt has been the runaway offensive OTA winner for him. And this is a guy that had 8 catches last year. He was not a part of the team. He reportedly requested a trade. He said, if you're not going to use me, trade me. And it's been reported as well that him and Brian Dable got into it a couple times. And there were times last year that Jalin Hyatt didn't know the plays, and he didn't know how to run routes, and he couldn't get off press coverage, and he wasn't where he was supposed to be when he was supposed to be. And he kind of sulked, and he was in the doghouse, and blah, 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 blah. Well, this year he came in with a new mindset, a new attitude, and a new work ethic. And following OTA practice on Thursday, Brian Dable said, Jalin Hyatt, he's improved in all facets of being a receiver. We're going to need him to continue doing that into training camp. And outside of just making plays, it's obvious that he looks a little bit different as well. He's playing different, he's acting different, and he looks different. Darius Slayton told the media on Thursday that Jalin Hyatt put on about 15 to 20 pounds of muscle. He said he's playing stronger, and he just is stronger, and that's helping him play at the level that he is playing right now. And that's what you love to see. All the talk coming out of Tennessee when he was a third-round pick was he can't run routes, and he's too weak. Sounds like the route running's improved. Sounds like he's getting a lot stronger as well. And in life, it's about taking advantage of your opportunities. And with Malik Neighbors sidelined during OTAs due to a toe injury, which we'll talk about in a little bit, not a big deal, Jalin Hyatt has been elevated to being a first-team wide receiver with Darius Slayton and Wandale in the slot. And every day, Giants.com did a write-up of standout plays, touchdowns, and takeaways. Giants.com would post videos. Giants social media account would post videos. The beat reporters got to go to a practice one time every week. And every day, it seemed like Jalin Hyatt made a different highlight. Giants.com writing this a couple of days ago. Russell Wilson has been singing the praises of third-year wide receiver Jalin Hyatt ever since the veteran quarterback signed with the team in late March. The two have continued to develop their chemistry throughout the spring, and the connection was on full display Tuesday. Hyatt ran a great route toward the sideline during 7-on-7s, with Wilson hitting him in stride for a first down. Later at 11-on-11s, Wilson found Hyatt on another moonball pass deep down the field for a 50-yard gain. It didn't end there, though, as Wilson hit the young wideout near the sideline during the final 7-on-7 period, where Hyatt made a great back shoulder grab for a first down. And that's what you love to see. That's what you love to hear. Third-round pick, entering his third year, starting to give the team some return on investment. He is making the most of his chances. And I believe he deserves a lot of credit for it, but I also believe that Russell Wilson deserves a lot of credit for it. Russell, since he has got here, has been nothing short of complimentary of Jalin Hyatt. And when you have a 10-time Pro Bowler, a Super Bowl champion, like, it may be a stretch to call Russell Wilson NFL royalty, but like, he was putting a Hall of Fame career together before he left for the Denver Broncos. When you have that guy believe in you, that's going to make you believe in yourself a little bit more. When Russell Wilson, unprompted, says Jalin Hyatt is a guy that's been untapped in terms of potential of what he knows he's capable of on the day you sign a contract, and then you say, I think he's going to have a great year for us this year later. And then again later, you say he's a guy I really believe in you. When you have a quarterback like Russell Wilson believe in you, that's going to make you believe in yourself. And I think Jalin Hyatt needed that. Daniel Jones didn't mesh with Jalin Hyatt. He's a dink and dunk quarterback. Jalin Hyatt is take the ball deep, go deep and catch it. Go get my ball. That's the type of quarterback Russell Wilson is. They're a perfect pairing, and I'm hoping it produces results. And Russell Wilson, he is a clear OTA winner as well. From the people I've talked to that's been to practices, from the things I've read, from the things I've watched about practices, Russell Wilson has separated himself from the other quarterbacks at OTAs. And I don't say that to say Dart hasn't been good, because Dart has been good. I don't say Jameis Winston's been bad, because he hasn't been bad. And I don't say that to say Tommy DeVito is not an NFL quarterback, because he's proven that he at least can be a part of a team. I say Russ has separated himself because the level of play that he is working at right now is just a couple floors higher than the other quarterbacks on this roster. And it should be. You're the veteran. You're the 10-time Pro Bowler. You're the Super Bowl champion. It should look that way. And outside of playing well, even the Giants, I think Russell Wilson at this point has become underrated in the grand scheme of things. And I think that's also bled into the Giants a little bit prior to them playing with Russell Wilson. Because Wan'Dale Robinson, as well as Darius Slayton, have both essentially said he's better than we anticipated. Wan'Dale Robinson says the first time Russell Wilson threw to them, he and Darius Slayton said, "This is better than we expected," describing his style, and then smiles. That deep ball, it really drops right in there. Comes in like a pillow. Really easy to catch. How many times did we see Giants wide receivers run 5-yard routes and they had a laser thrown at them and it bounced off their hands and it was intercepted? Too many times. Wan'Dale Robinson also saying this about Russell Wilson. The way he just commanded, even just that little session of just the three of us, me, Slay, and Theo Johnson, it was just kind of like, we haven't had a quarterback that's just going to command everything. And you know exactly what you want. So he has been great. Also adding, that deep ball just drops right in the bucket. Whenever he's throwing the shorter routes, it comes in like a pillow. It's really, really easy to catch. Wan'Dale Robinson has been complimentary of Russell Wilson. Darius Slayton has been complimentary of Russell Wilson. And I don't always want to bring it back to number 8, but there's a major gap between the current number 3 and the former number 8. Russell Wilson is the ultimate X factor this year. He's the ultimate X factor for this team. If you get the Russ that you saw in the first 6 games he played with the Pittsburgh Steelers, this team could compete for a wild card spot. Russ is the ultimate swing player this year. It's pretty cool to say that it was a quarterback who's actually done it at a high level in this league. The last OTA winner I want to talk about on today's show is offensive coordinator Mike Kafka. There's been a lot of talk this offseason of who is going to call the plays for the Giants offense. We know when the Giants hired Brian Daboll, it was Mike Kafka. And the next year it was Kafka, then Daboll, then Shea Tierney, then Daboll, then Kafka, then Tierney, and it was everywhere. And then it was Daboll last year. Well, Mike Kafka's been the one calling the plays at Giants OTAs. He was also the guy calling the plays at Giants rookie minicamp. And I was like, you know what? What does that really mean? So I went back and looked at scouting practice reports, from last year's OTAs and last year's rookie minicamp. And Brian Daboll was the one calling the plays at those camps. And Brian Daboll ended up calling the plays in the 2024 season. I think Kafka's going to call the plays. And I don't know if I love that. I don't know if I hate it. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know who is best to call the plays. But whoever is the best, make it happen. If Brian Daboll, you think it's Kafka, do it. Brian Daboll, if you think it's you, do it. But stick with it. No flip-flop. No my turn, your turn. No BS what it was in 2023. Pick a play caller and stay with it. I'm fine with it being Mike Kafka. He was the offensive coordinator when the Giants got to the playoffs and beat the Vikings. So I'm cool with that. Big winner for Kafka. He goes from essentially just being on the staff last year as the OC and not calling plays to, once again, getting a chance to be the play caller for this organization this upcoming season. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're going to get to the losers from OTAs coming up in a second. But if you want Giants videos all off-season long, multiple videos every single day, subscribe to the channel right now. I always get a comment when I do training camp winners and losers, preseason winners and losers. There's always one loser in the comments that says, "Marshall, there are no losers in the NFL. They all make more money than you, and you are the loser." So I can't wait for someone to comment that so we can all point and laugh and say, ha, 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 you are the losers. Again, no one's a loser, but not everyone can be winners. And someone that I think didn't have the best spring or didn't do what they needed to do to be the clear CB2, which I do think they will be, is Deonte Banks. Dan Duggan said this on Thursday. Deonte Banks and Cordell Flott split reps as the starting outside cornerback opposite of Paulson Adebo. That's an interesting development coming off of Banks' disappointing second season. And it's not as if Banks' reps were being limited because he worked with the second-team defense during some periods. So we have a position battle. We have a CB2 battle, it seems like. I do think it'll be Deonte Banks. I think he will win that job, and I think that he should be given the opportunity to get that job. He's a scholarship player. He's a first-round pick. That's what you get. You get those opportunities. But I don't think it's great that the Giants are even running reps at practice with the idea that he may not be that guy. I don't like we talked about with Russell Wilson being the X factor for this team. Deonte Banks holds the keys and the cards for the New York Giants to be a top 10 or top 5 defense in the NFL this year. Like, this pass rush is going to be sick. Like, there's no denying that at this point. Your inside linebackers are good in Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden. Your safeties are good in Javon Holland and Tyler Nubin. We all like Paulson Adebo. But if Deonte Banks can live up to even half of what he thought he was going to be when he was a first-round pick out of Maryland, that takes this defense to another stratosphere. We want him to be that guy. We need him to be that guy. Because if he is that guy, the Giants are going to be that guy. Shout out to Malik Neighbors, not an OTA loser, really. I just wanted to talk about Neighbors as he did not really practice at all during the 13 OTA sessions. He is dealing with a toe injury, so I'm kind of cheating just to give you guys an injury update on Neighbors. Brian Dable talked about Malik Neighbors and essentially said, look, we're taking it slow. We're being smart. Saying Brian Dable said wide receiver Malik Neighbors is progressing with the toe problem. Will still be rehabbing and has done some walkthrough stuff at OTAs. So didn't really get to practice, didn't really get to work any chemistry with Russell Wilson. Nothing to worry about here at all. Brian Dable said at the beginning of OTAs that this is an injury that's somewhat been nagging him and bothering him since his days at LSU. So the Giants are just being smart with him, which I don't mind at all. But, I would have liked to seen him work with Russell Wilson a little bit. I would have liked to seen him build up some chemistry and some continuity with Russell Wilson, work on some timing, see how he likes balls thrown to him, and how he likes to catch passes and things of that nature. But I'm not worried about it. I'm not upset about it. I'm just wishing I could have seen some more Malik Neighbors highlights in the month of May and June. Tommy Devito is a loser for me, which that sounds extremely harsh. But the facts are the facts. Tommy DeVito was a lot like you and a lot like me, standing there and watching, which, to not sound like a total a-hole, good. I don't need Tommy DeVito taking snaps away from Jackson Dart. I don't need Tommy DeVito taking snaps away from Jameis Winston. And I don't need Tommy DeVito taking snaps away from Russell Wilson. I know there was a DeVito era. It was fun, I guess. But, it's over. You have Russell Wilson, you have Jameis Winston, and you have Jackson Dart. There's no reason to really give Tommy DeVito work. That's all I got to say. And it kind of unfolded that way. Give the people that are going to be taking snaps in games the offseason reps. When you even think about giving DeVito a rep, just give the rep to Jackson Dart. I don't. There's no reason to give your QB4 who's not going to be on the roster in 2 months. You get limited practice time. Why waste it? Why waste it? The last OTA losers is the Giants O-line. And I guess you could flip this and say a winner was the Giants pass rush. I get it. Non-padded practice, non-contact practice. The Giants pass rush got the best of the Giants offensive line, and you could tell it somewhat got to the mental of the Giants offensive line. There was a practice fight a couple of days ago. Jermaine Illuminor and James Hudson, they got in a fight with Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau, and yeah, if people were beating my ass on a football field like the way the Giants D-line has been beating the Giants O-line, I'd probably want to fight them too. I tweeted out a video of Giants practice that Abdul Carter posted on his Instagram where Kayvon Thibodeau kind of whooped Jermaine Illuminor and Abdul Carter kind of whooped Aaron Stinney and Brian Burns kind of whooped James Hudson III, and they said, meet me at the ball with Russell Wilson. And Jermaine Illuminor fired off some tweets saying, can't wait for training camp. Then he said, I hate when pointless shit goes viral. And then he deleted all those tweets. The Giants D-line has the Giants O-line in a tizzy right now. And it's not the Giants O-line that's going to be playing, to be fair. Andrew Thomas didn't practice at OTAs. John Runyon didn't practice until like the second to last practice, and he only did it in limited fashion. They've been very slow with Greg Van Roten. Evan Neal's been playing left guard. I guess you go look at it two ways. Giants D-line is sick, or the Giants O-line may be in trouble again. I tend to lean towards the Giants D-line is going to be sick, and everything changes when you got 78 as your left tackle. So no real judgments there, but multiple people talked about it. Giants D-line got the better of the Giants O-line in OTAs. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'll continue to keep you updated over there. Twitter, Instagram, @MarshallGreen_. Hit me up, and let's go Giants.